Number 2, South Carolina women's basketball lost to number 16 Oklahoma on the road, 94-82. So what exactly happened? I apologize for looking it up because I cannot memorize all this stuff. And just going to mention this up front. There's no use of going over the last minute. In overtime, to be honest, it was all Oklahoma. Just saying. South Carolina was up at halftime, 43-36. But obviously, Oklahoma did score 39 points in the second half, while South Carolina scored 32. Then 19-7 in favor of Oklahoma in overtime. And Aaliyah Chavez, where she was scoring or assisting, she did the majority of the damage. I'm just saying, when you look at it, the overtime period. And what's crazy is South Carolina actually had a chance at the very end of the game to win. And they were down 71-65 with 4:17 left. But obviously a 10-4 run to finish regulation to even think about overtime. Yeah, Oklahoma got up 73-67, but with 3:54 left, and they did not make a single shot until literally around 18 seconds left for Oklahoma. They had chances, but they turned the ball over, not making shots. That's what led South Carolina back into the game. After all, sometimes your best defense comes from your offense. And South Carolina battled back. And gotta give them credit. It's just in overtime. They just didn't stop Aaliyah Chavez. And not just in the second half alone, but I'm talking about just in overtime. Now, South Carolina shot 37% from the field on 81 attempts, 24% on threes on 21 attempts. Now, 74% on free throws on 23 attempts, 39 rebounds, 18 offensive. 12 assists, 13 turnovers, maybe a little too much, and maybe you want more assists as well. 13 steals, 4 blocks, and 19 fouls. And how many points off the bench? 9 plus 1, that's 10, plus 2, that's 12, plus 8, that's 20, plus 3, that's 23 points. And 3 double-digit scores literally combined for 12 plus 19, that's 31, plus 16, that's 47, and it's not including 1, 2, 3, 4 other players score 6 points in this game. That combined for 6 plus 6, that's 12, plus 8, that's 20, plus 9, that's 29. Now, Oklahoma only had 8 bench points in the game. 5 double-digit scores literally combined for 86 points. After all, the non-double-digit scores combined for 86. I mean, and it's for 8 for that game. And one player scored 6 points, had 6. And Oklahoma shot the ball better from the field and from the three-point line. Free throws, not as good as South Carolina, but it was on limited attempts. You got to keep that in mind. 48% from the field on 81 attempts. So 9 more made shots on the exact same amount of shots attempted. 39% on threes on 23 attempts. 70% on free throws, but that's on 10 attempts. 54 rebounds. 19 offensive. You don't see South Carolina getting bullied on the boards like that. You just don't. 23 assists. Now, 21 turnovers, you got to improve. But South Carolina's defense is really that good. 4 steals, 3 blocks, 20 fouls. And obviously, Aaliyah Chavez deserves the game ball after all what she did in the second half and overtime. But you cannot discount Reagan Beers with the double-double, 18 points and 14 rebounds. And Sahara Williams with 12 points and 10 rebounds. You just can't. And it's not even mentioning Peyton Volhurst with 19 points on 8 for 15 shooting. You get the whole picture there. Now I'm going to go over the points out turnovers, points in the paint, and fast break points as well. Points out turnovers definitely favored South Carolina in the game, 28-12. Fast break points favored Oklahoma though, 15-10. Points in the paint favored Oklahoma, 50-40. And this is huge for the SEC. South Carolina is no longer unbeaten. They're 5-1. 19-2 overall. This could impact the seeding down the line for South Carolina. We have to wait and see for the NCAAs. Now, Oklahoma really needed this win. And this is the best win of the year so far. I'm just calling it the way it is. 15-4 overall, 3-3 in the SEC. And Oklahoma did get beat down by LSU the game before. They needed a win really bad, and they got one. Got to give them credit. Even when South Carolina almost beat them in regulation, and Oklahoma kind of blew it late in regulation, they picked themselves off the mat and won overtime easily. What's the next 5 games? Well, speaking of big for the SEC standings, you're gonna get to face a Vanderbilt team that's currently 6-0 in the SEC, 20-0 overall. Luckily, you get that game at home, January 25th. You have to wait and see about the travel situation too, around the country. So, yeah, that's a big game right there. If South Carolina loses that game, that will hurt them. You got to go on now, South Carolina. It's the next game after that. January 29th, you got to go on the road to Auburn. You should win that game pretty handily, even though it's on the road. Then you go on the road to Texas A&M February 2nd. You should win that game with relative ease. February 5th, you got Mississippi State at home. If it was on the road, I'd be a little bit more worried, but I still wouldn't sleep on them even though you get that game at home. But I think you should win that game. Then you get Tennessee, that's currently unbeaten in the SEC right now, on February 8th. We'll have to wait and see if Tennessee's at by the time, like, in terms of SEC play until that point. We'll have to wait and see. Now, for Oklahoma. What's the next 5 games? You got to go on the road to Auburn. You better not have a hangover game. That would be a hangover when I see one, even though I don't think you should lose to them. I don't think you should. January 25th. January 29th, you got Texas A&M at home. You should win that game, especially in home. But February 1st, you got to go on the road to Texas. That's tough. But you beat South Carolina, but though it was granted, it was in Norman, not like at South Carolina. You got to keep that in mind. So that's a tough game. You're playing Texas on the road, but anything can happen in a rivalry. Then you got February 9th, Vanderbilt on the road. That's currently unbeaten in the SEC. That's tough. But we'll wait to see if they're unbeaten at that point. And then you get Florida at home, February 12th. I don't think you should lose that game. So really not a lot of games that Oklahoma should lose. I mean, Florida, I would think Auburn on the road, Texas A&M at home. That's 3 wins right there. I see the next 5. It's more like the on the road to Texas, on the road to Vanderbilt. Split those, I would consider that a success, honestly. And this could impact NCAA tournament seeding down the line for Oklahoma. And I always thought South Carolina possibly might not have been unbeaten in the SEC, to be honest. Because when you look at it, even after the next 5 games, you got to go on the road to LSU. Tough game. But you got to wait and see. There's obviously Alabama on the road, but I don't know how dangerous Alabama is. You got Ole Miss at home, but I don't think you should lose. Especially if it's at home. And it's not even mentioning at the very end of the year, you got to go on the road to Kentucky. If they were going to drop one, I thought it would have been that Texas game. But that was in Columbia, South Carolina. If there was one, I would have picked that would have been the one. But no, it was to Oklahoma. And this kind of proves that this is not the same South Carolina team of dominance as compared to the past. In some ways, It just proves that any top 16 team possibly in the country can beat them. If you play good enough, you can beat them. While limiting South Carolina, and obviously you got to have South Carolina maybe on their off night a little bit and try to limit them offensively as much as you can, because the defense is going to keep them in it. So we have to honestly wait and see what happens. And Oklahoma absolutely outscored South Carolina in this game in overtime. That's what killed them. South Carolina ultimately, and not like regulation. If Oklahoma didn't falter down the stretch, they would have lost in regulation. But gotta give credit to South Carolina. They did battle back, but they lost. And obviously they did lose to Texas in the Players Era Festival championship game in Las Vegas, but that was only by 2. I don't foresee them losing back-to-back games necessarily, because even though Vanderbilt's unbeaten, I don't see Vanderbilt as an unbeaten team in the SEC. Because when you look at their schedule, first of all, they got South Carolina, on the road. You got on the road at Ole Miss. They have to go on the road to Kentucky. They have to even play Oklahoma at home. They got to play Texas at home. And Kentucky again, but at home instead of on the road. And you get Alabama at home. And obviously at the very end of the year, they're going to get to play Tennessee. And Tennessee is also the only other unbeaten team right now in the conference in women's basketball. But I still don't see them going unbeaten as well. Because I kind of went over their schedule for the next 5 games after they beat Kentucky tonight. But they have to go on the road to Ole Miss. First of all, they have to go on the road to South Carolina, which I kind of mentioned with South Carolina. They got Texas at home. That's big, but that's tough. They have to go on the road to Oklahoma. They have to go on the road to LSU, and then it's not including Vanderbilt at home. They're going to lose a game somewhere in conference, and it's not even mentioning the UConn game in Hartford, but that's a non-con game. I'm going to just call it the way it is. They're going to lose at least once. I guarantee there's not going to be an unbeaten in the SEC this year. I just don't see it. Schedule's just too tough for Vanderbilt and Tennessee to go unbeaten. So I still think there's a shot for South Carolina to win the conference still, even despite the loss tonight. You have to go pick yourselves off the mat and move forward. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens from here. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers. Of course, the ultimate goal is 1,000 or more. So remind this, of course, like video, comment video really helps YouTube algorithm, so more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well. And so more people could watch, and if you're watching, and not subscribe, hit subscribe button for notification bell as well. And I know Texas 4-2, but South Carolina beat them head to head. And you gotta look at the schedule for Texas as well. They have to play Oklahoma at home. They got LSU at home. They got Kentucky at home. They got on the road to Vanderbilt, on the road to Tennessee, and on the road to Alabama at the very end of the year. So maybe they'll lose a game somewhere. In Ole Miss, I think they're going to lose a game somewhere, because they still got Tennessee at home. They got Vanderbilt at home. They got on the road to Alabama, on the road to Kentucky, LSU at home, South Carolina on the road. They're going to lose at least one more game in the SEC. So it's really, in my opinion, a 3-way race among Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and South Carolina. Even if Texas and South Carolina are tied in the SEC, South Carolina wins that edge because they head-to-head in the SEC conference matchup, and not like the non-con. So you get the whole picture. I just don't think there's an unbeaten team in the SEC going to happen and wins basketball this year. I just don't see it.